This video will show how to add a Vticket to a job. A Vticket is required for a job that has service of any type. What I'm doing here is I'm adding a Vticket to an existing job. A Vticket should be created at the time of booking in order to properly record the service requirement on a job. I'm going into this job and I'm going to add the category for service. But first, for any job that requires service, the header has to be configured correctly. So I'm going to go into the header and I'm going to point out that this right here, the job name, that's the permanent location for the material. That's actually your service. That is actually your service address. Okay? In order to have the system create the Vticket correctly, this ship to here has to be the permanent location for the material to be serviced, or the location of the service where the tech is actually going to go. Okay, so you can see here that this is specified as the warehouse. That's not correct. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create an address for the site, which is the address where the technician's going to go. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to create a ship to. Now, what I would like to see is that this ship to is the 4-digit job number of the job. Right? In this case, this is an existing TurboRev number, so we can't really fit that. It's limited to 5 numbers. So I'm just going to call this MOMA, which is the name of the job, MOMA Residence. Right? This is the tag I want to create, how I want to refer to the job site where the technician is going to go. I put in that, I hit tab. It doesn't see that location under the customer record, and it says, do you want to create a new record? And I say yes. Now it's not Delta Sheet Metal, that's the contractor. It's MOMA Residence, 53 East 53rd Street. And the address is 53 East 53rd Street, New York. So that's the job site. Hit save and exit. And this is the job site now where the technician will be dispatched. All of these details will be confirmed based on the contact information that you give to service when you book the Vticket. So now the header is correct for a job with service. I'm going to create a category for the field labor, which our category for field labor is called field service. If you couldn't remember what it's called, you can use the magnifying glass to search. Now you have field service, and the estimated line cost will be calculated, and the estimated line sales will be calculated, and you can tab all the way through until the category for field service is created. Highlight field service and click on POs. You'll notice that this PO is different than the material PO because this is a purchase order or a service ticket for the field service. That's what we call the Vticket. So we're going to add, now on this particular job, we're going to put in 5 drives. We're going to say that there's 5 drives on the job. So we click add. The manufacturer in this case is ABB. So if you're not sure what ABB's number is, you can go in here, you can click it, you can tab ABB, and here's ABB for the drives, which is 118. The equipment leave this blank. This is a unique serial number that the system is going to create for each and every piece of equipment that you require startup for. And it's going to create that piece of equipment as living at that permanent address that you put in the header. In our case, it was MOMA. You're going to put in the model number, which in this case, these are all ACH 550s. This model number here is determined mostly to identify which service person can go, depending on the complexity of the equipment. The customer PO is pulled in from the header. The estimated cost is very important. Everyone has a memo describing how the estimated cost is calculated. So in this case, we have 5 drives. So anytime you have 3 or more drives that are going to be started up under regular circumstances during normal time, the cost in New York is $220 per drive. The cost per drive or for the service varies from situation to situation. That's all described in that memo, but in this case we're going to go with a simple example. So we're using $220 per drive. That's the job cost. The selling price here is actual, needs to be replaced with 0. Actual means that we would bill the actual cost to the customer. 0 means that we've included the value of the service in the total proposal amount in your top line sales number. So in every case, you should always put 0 as the selling price for service. Date you're going to leave open, that'll be filled in by service. When you go down to the serial number, this top field is for serial number, the next is part number, this is location, and this is tag. The contact in this case is not Albert Lamb, it's Neil Nathan and his cell phone number. I copied and I'll paste it in here. If you're booking the job, you're not going to have the serial numbers, so what you would do is you'd leave this blank and you'd go to the part number. So the first part number for the drive that I sold, that I booked, is ACH 550-VCR. The location, I'm not sure of. This location is meant to be basement, roof, penthouse, something like that. The technician will fill it in. And the tag number is the tag from the drawings. So in this case, it's KXF-35-6. Contact name and number I've already put in. And now I have this piece of equipment in the on the Vticket. And you'll notice that it's in lowercase, and I want to change that. So I go back up here and I change it to ACH 550 VCR. So now it's in uppercase, which is the correct way to put it into the system. So now the first drive is in the system and I have 5 drives on the job. My next step is to tell the service what I want them to do on the drive. I highlight this number, or I highlight this line, and I go to service entry, and I'm going to ask them to start up the drive. If I don't remember what the code is, I can look at the list. There's maintenance, startup, troubleshoot, a bunch of different things. It's a regular startup. Right, I go in here, I click startup, I click OK, and now I have this description that says startup. If I wanted to put any notes in here, I could add up to 60 characters under this note, like something like normal business hours, as an example, right? Again, here's my actual price. I need to make that say 0, and I tab through, and now I'm telling service when they get this ticket that I'm going to start it up, and I've added the descriptor normal business hours, which is not necessary. But if there was something specific to the task that you wanted to convey to service, this is a place where you could do it. I'm going to hit stop. I'm done entering services, and I'm going to hit done. And now this service is embedded into this drive. The service I want to perform is embedded into this drive. Now I have 4 more drives to add. You can add them individually, or depending on how you want to set it up, you could duplicate these lines. Now, if they're very similar, this might help. Even if they're not similar, what you're going to add is you're going to duplicate the contact name and phone number, and you're going to duplicate the service. So for that reason, it's probably always a benefit to just duplicate the numbers. So I went up here to options, I click on duplicate. How many times do I want to duplicate that one line? So I have a total of 5, so I'm going to duplicate it 4 times. I'm going to duplicate the service, that's the startup that was in there. And I'm going to duplicate the parts, even though we haven't added any parts. So you could check or uncheck parts, it doesn't make a difference. I'm going to click OK. And now I have that same drive duplicated 4 times for a total of 5. So if I want to edit, now I need to edit, some of these are a little different. So I'm going to leave the first one as it is. I'm going to go to the second one, and I'm going to edit it. And my second drive is pretty much the same, except my part number changed a little bit. It says 6A9, and of course my tag is going to be different. Now that one's done. Now I just, instead of clicking edit again, I just move my cursor button down, my down arrow, and now I'm on to the third one. And you can see that I didn't correct my, I didn't make this also a capital F. So I'm going to make this change right now. My third one is now a BCR. '06 A9, and this one has a enclosure on it. And this is TXF-73-1. I'm still in the edit mode, so if I go up, I can simply change my small f to a capital F. I can go up again to the first one, which is the one I duplicated. So I duplicated this mistake 5 times. So now I'm going to go back and correct it. So now my first 3 are correct. I'm going down to the 4th one here. My 4th one is a BCR. the last one, it's another BCR. The rating on this one is correct. Now I've created all of these, for the booking purposes, all of these drives are in. I have the model number that I'm going to submit on, and I have the tag number that it's going to be identified by. Now, one thing I can do to check this is I can go into my Excel program that's on your desktop. I can open up Excel, and I can open up a blank workbook. And I minimize this workbook, and I can go up here and I can say export to Excel. And don't interrupt it, but now it'll give me all the data that was that I put into the Vticket so far. And I could print this out, and I could double check my tags and my model numbers, etc. Alright, so I don't need this right at the moment. I'm going to just kill it, but I wanted to show the feature that's in the system. Now, as far as booking the job, everything for booking the job is in here correctly. I can hit done, and I can go ahead and submit. And then when the job is, when the drives are ordered, I can come back and put in the serial numbers. Remember, if we're going to order these drives from stock, then the warehouse will put the serial numbers in. The next step is I've ordered the drives, I come back to the job, and I go back into field service, and I go back and open up my POs. Now here's my Vticket as I left it. There's no ticket created yet, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to the first one. And now that I've ordered it, I have my serial number. I'm going to add my serial number here. And I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to add my serial number. Now remember, I've only hit edit once, and now I'm just going from line to line and adding my serial numbers in, and then moving to the next line by using my down arrow key. This is why I should have a ruler when I do this. This is 404. Oops, I was typing and it wasn't actually in the field. 217-1200-428. Okay, I've done something wrong. Oh, okay. This is a good learning example. What happens is I keep tabbing down. I use my arrow key to go down to the next number, and it says invalid data in field. So I click on the blue box, and I'm not paying attention. But what it's doing is it's bringing me up here and saying I typed into this field. It brings me right to the field where there's invalid data. So now I realize I typed the serial number into the equipment. So I just clear that out. And now when I go down, it lets me proceed. So that's part of the system, is that the system always lets you, or when you have invalid data, it brings you to the field where there's invalid data. And now on the last one, I have the last one in there, and these are all done. Now, in the same manner as I did when I booked the job, I could go here and I could, again, export to Excel to check. What I did actually is I paused the tape and I double checked, and I'm ready to create my ticket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of hitting done like I did before, right, I'm actually ready to create the ticket and send the job to service. So I'm going to hit create ticket, and it's saying which pieces of equipment do I want to add onto the ticket. Can I put all of them or some of them? And this is important because if you create this ticket and then later on you have to add more items to the more equipment to the ticket, you can add a couple more and then go back and just add them to the same ticket. So in this case, I'm creating one ticket with all 5 pieces of equipment, so I'm going to click all equipment. If I wanted to eliminate this piece of equipment or not include it on the ticket for whatever reason, I can highlight it and I can hit toggle, and you see how the selection goes from yes or Y to N or no. All right, but I'm going to keep them all on there. I'm going to hit done. So now it's created my ticket V00635. You might want to just write that number down for your reference. Now the system is waiting for you to respond, so you click on it. And do you want to print the ticket now, yes or no? And at this point, you do want to print it. Click OK. Now, if you click it here, what happens is the ticket goes to service into the queue, and it gets picked up by service. A more proactive way to do it, the way I would recommend we do it, is we select E for email and we click OK. What it does is it brings up this email from me, and I can say, and I can create a message here that says I can send it to my customer or to service, right? But if I want to send it to the customer, say, Dear Neil, so I wrote, Dear Neil attaches the ticket for service on the VFDs at MoMA. Please contact Mark Kuhn to schedule service and provide at least 2 weeks advance notice. Now, in the memo about Vtickets that everyone received, there's a blurb in there that I typed that you can copy and paste into this field, which will make it easier enough to retype it every time. Now, you hit tab again, now it's asking you for the addresses. So as an example, I'm going to send this to Mark, right? I put in Mark's address and then I hit return. It's asking me to add another address because this is Mike Palazzolo's job, I'm going to copy Mike, right? And I can just continue to email and add as many emails as I want. When I'm done, I hit stop. You'll notice those 2 emails are in there, right? And here's the message. And when I hit send, it'll go to Mark and Mike. I didn't copy the customer because we're doing this for a demonstration purpose. I didn't want to copy the customer on this just yet. All right, but normally you could use this and copy your customer. There's nothing in here that your customer can't see. And then you hit send, and now you have a Vticket. What'll happen is service will get the Vticket. Service will get the Vticket and schedule the work when they hear from the customer. So please take a look at this. And I'll add one more item is you see on this piece of equipment 1351. So that's the unique identifier for that particular drive. This model number, this serial number, and that tag. If you go down one, that's 1352, and the system sequentially records that equipment number. That way, Mechanical Technologies identifies that particular drive with this model number for the entire life of its service. Whether there's warranty, maintenance, any repairs that have to be done, it always comes back to that one number. All right? Call me if you have any questions. Thanks.